Hello friends, welcome back. We are into the second session of the Java interview questions for experienced professionals. We had about 10 questions in the previous session and I'm sure it was helpful. This session we'll have another a few questions, say about 6-7 questions, and we'll have answer for the same. Let's get into the questions right away. What are design patterns? Simple. They are typical solutions to common problems in the software design. I repeat it, they are the typical solutions to the common problems in software design. Each pattern is like a blueprint that you can customize further to solve a particular design problem of your code. So you have a problem in your code and you can use the template which is already available, which you can customize and solve that problem. Design patterns are programming language independent strategies for solving the common design problems. So this is a very important question, so remember it. What are the core Java design patterns which are available? Creational, structural, and behavioral. Creational design pattern provide a way to create objects while hiding the creation logic rather than instantiating objects directly using new operator. I repeat it, it will provide a way to create objects while hiding the creation logic. The creation logic is hidden and rather than instantiating the object directly from the new operator. So factory, singleton, prototype, builder, abstract factory are some of the instances, examples that you can really present right now. Structural. It is concerned with how classes and objects can be composed to form larger structures. See the terms here. It is concerned with how classes and objects can be composed to form larger structures. So it also focuses on how the classes inherit from each other and how they are composed from each other classes. Few of the examples are presented to you in front, which include the adapter, bridge, composite, decorator, etc. Behavioral is specifically concerned with communication between the objects. This is an interesting point. It is related to communication between the objects. Chain of responsibility, the command, interpreter, iterator, mediator, memento, observer, state, strategy, template, visitor, null objects are all the examples of this. So this is a very important question. What is a design pattern? What are the core Java design patterns available? This may come to any of you when you are going for experienced professional position with respect to Java. What is singleton design pattern? How is it implemented? It is a creational design pattern. So we have three types here: creational, structural, and behavioral. So singleton falls in the creational design pattern, which lets you ensure that a class has only one instance, while providing a global access point to this instance. So this is a very important point. You have only one instance, but you have global access point to this instance. This will be implemented using a static instance variable, static method, and a private constructor. This is again an important question, so remember it. Well, the next question is very important. What is exception class hierarchy in Java? If you can see here, we have got exceptions and error. Exceptions are two types here. One is checked exception, another one is unchecked exception. Checked exception can be IO or compile time exception, whereas unchecked exceptions can be runtime or null pointer exceptions. We are going to talk more about this in the next question, so wait until that. But errors can be virtual machine error, assertion error, etc. So just understand that it's exceptions and errors on the whole, and we've got checked and unchecked exceptions. There can be questions specifically coming from checked and unchecked exceptions as well. What are the types of exceptions in Java? Checked, unchecked. These are the exceptions. The checked exceptions are the one that I'm talking about. Checked exceptions are the ones that are checked by the compiler at the compile time. If a method throws a checked exception, then the caller of the method must either handle the exception or declare it in the throws class. This is a very important point. Please remember, this is all done at the compile time. The exceptions that are checked by the compiler at the compile time are called checked exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are those that are not checked by the compiler at the compile time. They include runtime exceptions and errors. This is very important to be understood, so please understand. What are the common checked exceptions in Java? IO exception, SQL exception, class not found exception, instantiation exception, and no such method exception. These are all the 5 different common checked exceptions in Java. IO exception is raised when an input-output operation fails. SQL exception is raised when the database operation fails. Class not found exception is raised when the class cannot be found at all. Instantiation exception is raised when an object cannot be instantiated. and no such method exception is raised when the method cannot be found. Mention the list of common unchecked exceptions in Java. Runtime exception, null pointer exception, arithmetic exception, array index out of bounds exception, illegal argument exception, illegal state exception, concurrent modification exception. When you talk about runtime exception, this is the superclass of all unchecked exceptions. That tells you the story. Null pointer exception is raised when a null value is used where an object is definitely required. Arithmetic exception is raised when an arithmetic operation fails. The name is very obvious. The next one is array index out of bounds exception. This exception is raised when an array index is out of bounds. Illegal argument exception is raised when an illegal argument is used. Illegal state exception is raised when an illegal state is detected. Finally, the concurrent modification exception is raised when a collection is modified while it is being iterated over. So these questions are very important for the experienced professionals as well as freshers even. So please have a look at it. In case you have any questions, suggestions, please go ahead and type it in the comment sections. I'll come back to you with more questions in the next session. Thank you.